Here again is Kelsey Chickering.
Hello. Welcome to the second edition of the Back Channel. So our second half of the day really started off with quite a bang, and many people's reactions were one of, oh my God, is this really happening in the best way possible? It was one of the most interesting panels of the day, in my opinion, with Dr. Helen Fisher. And some of the things that came up during that was this love of the girl power that was happening on stage. So Maura Monroe said, proving that girl power is here to stay, as it once was, so shall it be again. Really, really great. And one of my favorite quotes of probably the day and also of this panel was by Dr. Helen Fisher. She said, treat people the way they want to be treated and you will win, which is really important as we begin to think about, targeting audiences and creating experiences for audiences in a way that they want to receive that experience. As we moved into the next group of discussions, Lou Biscalis really made an awesome point about treating people the way they want to be treated. So don't say nice to meet you when we've met 10 times. And again, this is really important when we think about targeting and relevancy and delivering a message to a person in a way that makes sense to them and doesn't sound tone deaf. And a lot of conversation around data obviously came with that, because to deliver this one-to-one experience, we need the data to do it. And he talked about how we need to harness every single data signal that we get to really know our customer. And no data is bad data. We need to collect it all. And they described it as Moneyball banking, which is something a lot of people were talking about and tweeting about in the audience. And at Bank of America, to scale that, he talked about how they design for audiences to deliver to individuals, which is a really, I think, strong point and something that we all need to be thinking about to make this one-to-one marketing a reality. Another semi-controversial, not controversial, but provocative thing that came up that a lot of people were tweeting about and interested in was this idea that best practices are the enemy of marketers, because it makes us all optimizers instead of innovators, and really taking the chance to experiment and try new things rather than constantly iterate on the same things. And obviously, the discussion about data wouldn't happen without also a discussion about transparency and the importance of it. And really, it comes down to accountability and how important it is for us to be accountable for the data that we're collecting and the data we're measuring. But that, of course, is complicated because measurement is fragmented and it's not easy to measure all of these data sources. And really, the future of this needs to be a common currency across all of our mediums. And something that everyone agreed upon and a lot of people tweeted about was really that data should have the same scrutiny as media. Even though it's hard to scrutinize this data and to measure it properly, it's really important that we do give it that same level of scrutiny. So moving on to some of our disruptors for the day, the first one really around esports. People were shocked that mind blown that esports has more unique viewers than the NBA and is second to the NFL. I didn't know that before today, and I know a lot of us didn't. And it was a really interesting conversation around how we need to be changing the way we think about the mediums that we're on. So as the discussion moved toward TV versus digital, while TV is definitely not dead, we need to keep in mind that people like 13-year-olds aren't sitting down and turning on their cable box. As Sundance Giovanni said, it's important for us to be in multiple mediums and thinking about those different places, especially as a new generation of people come to the forefront. So another disruptor was Cody Foster. A lot of tweeting happened during his discussion and an interview, and he talked a lot about breaking through the cognitive bias, especially as it comes to targeting, and not just looking at age, but looking at the people collecting that data and targeting their behaviors in a really real way. And a lot of people also loved that he talked about how the RFP process needs to change completely. He said, just send me your first-party data. And this idea of #preach was definitely seen throughout many of your tweets. I'd like to close. There was a lot of great moments, but I want to close on some of our favorite back channel moments that happened throughout the day. The first one being thank you to these ladies who were not only engaging throughout the entire day, but were also had the most engaging content throughout the day. So kudos to you. Thank you for tweeting. I know everyone here who was following along really got a lot out of what you had to say. Also, I am glad to announce that Liz Proctor does in fact have a face. Thank you, Brad, for helping her out with that at lunch. Yeah, that deserves a round of applause. I'm glad lunch was productive. Dave Bolger talked about an insight from Cody Foster around how getting engaged literally drives men to drink. And you weren't the only person who talked about that. And from personal experience, I got proposed to in a bar, so that's definitely a true thing. And one aside, this was something that someone tweeted around, if anyone in the world needs advice, Ryan Dunn needs it. But this is a plug for if you go to our Holiday's Facebook page, we've been doing Facebook Lives throughout the day, backstage in the green room with Ryan Dunn and Alex Stoller. They've been interviewing a bunch of the panelists. It's really great content, so you should check it out afterwards. And finally, last but not least, this is definitely our favorite photo shared of the day by Mike. He's been up in the booth if you didn't know, and also if you didn't know this before, you know, and now he's a big Trekkie. So thank you for sharing that. And I'd like to just close by welcoming back Stacy Shepardin and Mike Prue to the stage to close out for the day. Thank you very much.